So yesterday in one of my videos, I decided kind of wait to see if these unfortunate, sickening bombings in Sri Lanka during the Easter services for Christians. I'll get to that why I said it that way, by the way, in a second. But so yes, it's pretty much almost a given that the here in the Wall Street Journal it says the Sri Lankan officials believe the Islamist militant group was behind the Easter morning attacks on churches and luxury hotels that killed at least 290 people and wounded another 500. Health Minister Rajita Serenati told reporters. Yeah, that's what happened. Wanted to make sure that I didn't go out there and say, "Well, it was a gas leak" or um, something like that. Unfortunately, this is what it is. Um, it's pretty horrific. This was a well coordinated attack. Um, the Sri Lankan government got wind of this, I think, a couple months ago, and they were doing their best. You know, Sri Lanka is a pretty poor country economically when it comes to the world, when you compare it to the world and stuff like that. So, forgot my book up here. All right, there we go. So, yeah, that's what it boils down to right now. A day later, uh, as you can see here. Um, let's see. Well, an official says there is no specific evidence connecting the group to the bombings, but the authorities see it as most likely organizer. He said all the bombers were Sri Lankan citizens. It took about 24 people into custody in the capital city of Colombo. Um, Government has ordered around-the-clock security checks at all churches. Interesting enough, the demographics of Sri Lanka, apparently most of them are Buddhist, and then the smallest minority, I think, of what where I read, was Christians, and then the next minority would be Muslims. Um, it's kind of yikes. Um, yeah, but they also bombed some hotels. Uh, Interestingly, what this Yahoo News article says that the Sri Lankan bomber queued at the hotel buffet, then unleashed devastation. Essentially, what happened was is that he had a bomb on his back and he was getting his food for breakfast that morning, and then just lit himself up, meaning it exploded. Um, Basically, we're just talking about the eyewitnesses' utter chaos. It was busy. There was families down there, and then this guy says one of our managers who was welcoming guests was among those killed instantly. The bomber also died. Parts of his body were found intact by police and taken away. Kind of grim. Um, yeah, and interestingly, unfortunately, I'd say interesting and unfortunately, the Sri Lankan government basically declares curfew, shuts down access to major social media sites, which, if you're smart enough, and I mean, people in Sri Lanka who are tech savvy are not dumb, they can get around these social media sites that have been curtailed by the government. Um, Imagine if they did that here in the United States. There's some, like, say, like 9/11 happened, they cut down all cell phone networks, and that wouldn't fly. The ACLU would be up in arms. But here, where the Sri Lankan people, they're what we consider First Amendment, Fourth Amendment, Fifth Amendment, etc. Their rights are sort of, fluid, if you will, on the whims of the government. Um, Yeah, this is a short story. It says the curfew will be imposed until things settle down. Well, that's pretty vague. But I assume that it's not going to, continue on. But still, that's just that wouldn't happen here. You just kind of just compare it to any sort of you know mishap that happens here or terrorist attack, if you will. If you try to shut down access to information, that wouldn't fly, and thankfully so. Um, it's kind of hard in today's world to try to clamp down on information. It's almost impossible. Um, it really is impossible. I mean, you can't tell people not to talk about it, and then if you got you have to shut the internet completely 100% down, like turn it off completely. They can't really do that because of business and etc. But like I said, they shut down messaging apps, Facebook and WhatsApp, to prevent misinformation and rumors. I think honestly, you actually create misinformation or rumors by doing this. But hey, they're a sovereign country and they decide that's what they want to do, and I guess that's what they do. But again, it's pretty bad. And God, where was it? I gotta type in. So the people on Twitter, the blue check marks, came out and the condolences, and Trump accidentally said millions died, and people freaked out about that, and it was just a typo. And then what are they going to try to impeach him for that? Probably. But interestingly enough, Hillary Clinton I saw this. Okay, here's something from RT. By the way, RT is Russian owned, bought and paid for. But this is where it's the first thing that came up. It says Obama Clinton lambasted for calling bombed Sri Lankans Easter worshippers. And their tweets are here, basically right here. It says attacks on tourists and Easter worshippers in Sri Lanka are the attack on humanity. One on a day devoted to love, redemption, and renewal. We pray these victims and stand with the people of Sri Lanka. Right, but Christians. These are Christians. And, same thing with Hillary Clinton. On this holy weekend for many faiths. Many faiths. Christians. Many faiths. Christians. Anyways, we must stand united against hatred and violence. I am praying for everyone affected by today's horrific attacks on Easter worshippers. Christians. Let me change that for you. Christians. In Sri Lanka. And then Brittany Pettibone, blue check mark, came out and said, what the heck is an Easter worshipper? Determined that these people are going to such painfully ludicrous lengths to avoid using as Christian. That's true. Someone named Sarah Stanley said, hey, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, these Easter worshippers you keep referring to are called Christians. It is a few more syllables than Muslims, but I bet you can say it if you try. Yeah, so. And then, of course, everyone's lovable oaf, Adam Schiff, horrified by Easter Sunday bombing in Sri Lanka today, which killed over 200 people and injured hundreds more. These attacks on civilians and worshippers are cowardly and despicable. We stand with Sri Lanka against terror. And then U.S. Attorney Shores. So my prayers to the victims of Sri Lanka terror attacks and families of victims. Easter worshippers. Where are they getting this? This is just too much to be a coincidence. I mean, seriously. Easter worshippers? And there's many different people saying that. What are they getting their talking point from somewhere? I mean, good God, man. So there's a Christian based on the downplaying. This is what RT is saying. Okay, again, this is what RT is saying. All right, just gotta take this with a grain of salt. This is American Christian Roots for the sake of sensibilities on people adhering to other religions. This anthem is probably best reflecting Fox News coverage, of course, the supposed war on Christians in the U.S. In the particular case, however, notion may be misplaced. One commenter pointed out, Christian churches are not exclusively Christian places of worship there. Quite the contrary. So churches of Sri Lanka welcome all faiths and people of all faiths going to Easter services. Now that sounds weird, but I read up on last night. So when Obama Easter worship, they're referring to pluralism in the Eastern Ceylon. What? Specifically, Colombo Easter coincides with other native holidays. It's a busy time for outreach and community gatherings. It's still Easter, and it's still a Christian holiday, if you will. I mean, oh my God. Well, I would go to Infowars, but people would probably say something about that. Old Louder Cratter. Same thing. His obviously right wing. I wouldn't say bias, but yeah, he's coming from the right wing. Or I wouldn't say right wing. He's not right wing. He's coming from a right, center right point of view, if you will, or maybe more right, libertarian, if you will. So it basically says the Jesus-hating douche nuggets who perpetrated the attack on the chose Easter of all sin and exercised their dickery. After people on both the left and right took to Twitter sphere, and this is where he talks about spot the omission. This is Julian Castro, Easter worshippers, Elizabeth Warren, worshippers at church during Easter. Another way of saying it. Peaceful worshippers. Of course, Mayor Bill. By the way, Mayor Bill de Blasio, that's not his technically last name. It's like Wilhelm or whatever. So, wow, this guy named Imam Mohammed Tawhidi. Spot the difference. My heart breaks for New Zealand and the global Muslim community. So this is her tweet during the unfortunate, disgusting attacks on the Muslims in New Zealand, Christchurch. So the global Muslim community must continue to fight the perpetuation and normalization of Islamophobia and racism in all its forms. White supremacist terrorists must be okay. And then this. She mentions who sort of attacked and what the potential person at what their ideology, but they don't mention Hillary. Don't mention the ideology right here. Kind of interesting. I guess, but to conclude this, I mean, it is what you expect. I mean, Christians nowadays you're pretty much your punching bags, and they take it. You know, they take it pretty. Unfortunately, they take it pretty well. But what else are you gonna do? I mean, it is what it is. So we all know who when it comes to oppression Olympics, who gets the gold medal and who comes in last place. But the bottom line is, I could say thoughts and prayers, and while true, it's just, I don't know. What are you gonna do? This goes beyond well out of my wheelhouse and pay grade. I can't do anything about this. All I can do is report on it and kind of give you my opinion. But I think it's just how bombing a church or shooting up a mosque. That's no. It's funny that people cannot take their grievances out in other, I guess, more positive ways instead of this. This is just messed up. But I guess this is the world we live in, and nothing will change. And I guess and then the reaction from the blue check markers, Hillary, and it's just from the Democrats. It just seems like it's Easter worshipers. They're Christians. And then you can say, well, there's other people that go there. Yeah, but for the majority of people who show up to these churches during Easter, they're Christians. Yeah, technically they're Easter worshipers. What does that even see? They was like, is Easter a religion and they worship Easter? No, they're Christians who, for all intents and purposes, are there because this is the day that Jesus Christ was It's all for Jesus Christ. But regardless, it's messed up. If you feel that you need to bomb something, or just stop, get some help, for God's sakes. Enough of this. This is I don't need to. I hate waking up in the morning. Okay, was it yesterday? It was yesterday morning. Or was it Saturday? I can't remember the time change. But when I saw this news, I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Stop. But no one's gonna listen to me. Am I right?